welcome to this live reading from Love Song by K.G. Fletcher, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1. The show went off without a hitch, the band performing 2 encores and leaving the audience wanting more. Casey laughed with the other musicians in the van as they headed back to their hotel, grateful for another successful tour. She was ready to let her hair down after the long day of sound checking and the show, excited to chill in the nightclub conveniently located adjacent to the lobby. Apparently, a local live band was supposed to be performing. A fun night of dancing and drinking with her bandmates for sure. The whole group unloaded like clowns out of a tiny car at the circus onto the cobblestone driveway at the hotel entrance. "Dora, come by my room for a cocktail before we head down to the club," she said to her striking Latino singing partner after remembering she had 2 beers left in her mini fridge. The 2 of them were backup singers in the group and thick as thieves. "You bet, girlfriend," she replied and ran her hand through her short auburn hair, teased for the performance to look like a faux hawk. Casey felt a hand on her shoulder and turned around. Sam Wildner grinned and pulled his wheeled drum cymbal case behind him. This had been his first gig with the group, subbing for their regular drummer who had double booked himself. There was a definite connection between the 2 of them when they first boarded the plane in Atlanta and chatted across the aisle from one another. A kind passenger offered to trade seats, and they ended up talking nonstop for the next hour and a half, very closely, hitting it off immediately. "You girls want some menfolk to join you?" His smile was brilliant, with perfect teeth, and his amazing blue eyes clear as the ocean in the Caribbean. During the show, Casey enjoyed catching glimpses of him doing his thing on the drums. He was talented and cute, her favorite combination. Sam subbed for different Atlanta bands and was also an extremely gifted teacher, sharing his craft with children and teens when he wasn't on the road gigging. "Yeah, man, I want to go too. I'm starving, and I heard the club offers some delectable bar food," the quirky keyboard player Rocky chimed in. "Sure thing," Casey replied, grinning back at them from ear to ear. "Let's run up to our rooms and drop off our stuff off. We can meet in the hallway and walk down together." The band loaded into the elevator, debriefing about their performance, giddy at the crowd reaction. Spilling out onto the 6th floor, they said their goodnights to those who wouldn't be joining them and headed to their own rooms. Casey shut the door with a click and turned on several lamps in the tidy room. Grabbing a beer out of the mini fridge, she twisted it open and took a nice long pull from the bottle. She was excited the boys were joining them, especially Sam. Very quickly, she changed out of her show clothes, powdered her nose, and reapplied lip gloss. Eyeing her reflection in the bathroom mirror, she patted down her out-of-control show hair, frizzed slightly from the outdoor event. Batting her false eyelashes, she contemplated taking them off, but decided not to. She liked the dramatic way they enhanced her big brown eyes. There was a knock at her door, and she smiled, knowing it was Dora coming over for the last beer. She opened the door and pushed the large silver security lock forward to leave it cracked for when the boys came by. "Hola, chica, time to party!" Dora entered the room and swayed her hips in a sexy salsa move. Casey giggled and handed her the cold beverage. The 2 friends clinked their beer bottles together in a friendly toast. "I'm hungry, too. I hope they have some fries or chicken fingers on the menu." "Junk food!" Casey laughed, draining the last of her beer, and noticed Sam's face peek from behind the cracked hotel room door. "Knock, knock, y'all ready?" he asked, looking especially cute in his blue jeans, white-collared shirt, and black vest. His black skinny tie hung loosely around his neck as Rocky followed him close behind. "Yes, let's go." She started to grab her small purse and jacket before Dora handed her the half-drunk beer she'd been holding. "Here, you finish. I'm already tipsy from lack of food." Casey didn't hesitate and put the bottle up to her lips, chugging the remaining beer in 3 gulps. When she noticed the guys watching her, she blushed. A huge grin blossomed across Sam's face as he held the door wide open for everyone. "Looks like you've already primed the pump. I've got some catching up to do." Casey smiled, wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, and threw the bottle into the trash can with a loud thump. As she passed in front of Sam, she muttered, "Catch me if you can," causing him to laugh out loud. 6 floors down past the hotel restaurant, they found the entrance to the nightclub where an older woman sat at a table collecting a $5 cover charge. Sam immediately pulled a $20 bill from his wallet. "This is for me and my friends," he offered the lady with a grin. Dora patted his back. "You sweet thing. The first round of drinks will be on me." The club wasn't too packed, and their small entourage was able to find a small high-top bar table toward the back of the room. The swivel chairs surrounding the table had shiny plastic seats, and Casey slid several times in her leggings as she tried to adjust to the awkwardness of the chair moving constantly. "This is weird," she giggled, feeling the effects of the beer and a half she'd just consumed. Sam grabbed the back of her chair with his strong hand and scooted it closer to his. "Here, I'll hold on to the back so it won't swivel so much." Peering over her shoulder at him, she could feel the heat of his arm radiating down her back. "Thank you, Professor," she flirted. A round of drinks was ordered along with an assortment of greasy, typical bar food. The cocktails came in record time, and they raised their glasses in a toast to a great show and to Sam's debut in the band. Sam pounded his first vodka and cranberry like a frat boy. When he set the empty glass on the table, a look of disappointment crossed his handsome face. When the waitress came by their table to drop off silverware and napkins, he touched her elbows lightly. "Hey, darling, can I get another drink, only this time with just a splash of cranberry? That last one was a little bit too fruity for me." He smiled boyishly at the middle-aged waitress who took the bait. "Of course." Casey sipped on her weak gin and tonic, occasionally stirring it with a red straw. The live band, which was a trio of guys, was setting up, getting ready to play their first set. "How's your drink?" Sam asked, leaning into her, trying to talk above the thumping beat of a pop song the DJ was playing. "It's a little weak, too, but that's okay. I'm still ahead of you." She batted her false eyelashes at him. He hadn't let go of her chair, holding it in place, and playfully leaned into her ear. His warm breath made her shiver. "Well, I'm about to catch up to you in no time." The waitress brought over another cocktail and handed it to Sam. By the time the bar food arrived, he'd consumed 3 drinks to Casey's 1. "Looks like I'm winning," he teased, grabbing a quesadilla off a large white plate. Casey motioned for the waitress to bring her another cocktail, pointing at her empty glass. The band started to play, and everyone at the table was immediately impressed, which was highly unusual for a group of seasoned musicians. Another round of drinks appeared, which made Rocky shake his head vehemently. "Dude, I have a 1-beer limit. Anything after that, and I cannot be held responsible." He ran his fingers through his dark shoulder-length hair. "Oh, come on, Rocky. 2 beers aren't going to kill you. It's on me, brother." The band started to play the old Bobby Brown tune, "My Prerogative." Dora jumped to her feet and grabbed Casey by the arm. Come on, we gotta dance to this one. I love the 80s music." They hurried down a few steps onto the tiled dance floor directly in front of the band. Sam followed and joined them, moving his hips and dancing with ease. The 3 of them laughed and showed off their best 80s moves, enjoying the music and camaraderie. When the song ended, Casey was feeling no pain from the effects of the alcohol in her system. She wiped the sweat from her forehead and boogied her way back to their table. Rocky proudly raised his second beer in the air, welcoming her back to the table where another round of drinks awaited them. Slurping the remnants of her second, or was it third, drink before starting on the new one, she immediately squinted, reacting to the strong dose of alcohol. "Uh-oh, looks like you're coming back pretty strong, little lady," Sam said as he downed his drink. Casey followed suit, draining her new drink through the red straw in several gulps, her gaze fixed on his wide eyes and big grin. She took a deep breath and slammed the glass on the table, the alcohol burning her throat. "Whoa, Chica, you need to slow down," Dora exclaimed as she watched her. "No worries, I'm good," she assured, holding up a finger to the waitress to gain her attention for another drink. Sam bit his lip as if trying to suppress a smile and continued to hold the back of the chair she kept sliding off of. Their eyes met, and she held his gaze for several seconds as an unspoken conversation seemed to happen between them. "Okay, kiddos, I've got to turn in. My flight to Manhattan leaves 2 hours before yours in the morning," Dora lamented. She threw some money on the table and stood, leaning in to kiss everyone goodbye. When she got to Casey, she paused and grabbed her by the cheeks. "I love you, girl. I had a blast this weekend. See you in January at the New York convention." She kissed her forehead. "And start drinking some water, or you're going to be sorry tomorrow on the plane." Casey nodded and watched her hot friend exit the club. Dora was a Broadway veteran and the only one in the band who wasn't based out of Atlanta. She cherished their time together and always looked forward to the Association of Performing Arts Presenters convention in January, where they could hang out on Dora's home turf in New York City. Rocky stood and pulled his wallet out of his back pocket. "It's getting late, folks. I need to hit the sack, too." "Oh, no you don't, buddy. 1 more beer. Just 1. Come on, man. It's a celebration," Sam pleaded. Casey chimed in. "Yes, Rocky, 1 more, please." Rocky rolled his eyes and sat back down. "Okay, 1 more." A final round of drinks came, and Casey knew she was in trouble. She tried to act casual as Rocky and Sam had an animated, in-depth conversation across the table from one another about some jazz drummer, or was it a pianist? The loud thumping of the band echoed in her ears, and she couldn't understand what they were saying. She tried to lean her swirling head on her hand, and her elbow slipped, nearly causing her to fall off the swivel chair. "Uh-oh," Sam grunted, catching her before she fell to the ground. "Looks like the gin is catching up to you." Pulling her chair closer, he put his arm around her waist, holding her taut against his sturdy frame. Casey closed her eyes and tried to calm her sloshing stomach by breathing deeply through her nose. She knew she should have eaten some of the bar food they'd ordered earlier. She had only picked at the French fries, concentrating more on her cocktails and trying to outdo and impress Sam. Rocky sipped on his third beer, oblivious to what was going on between them. When he excused himself and headed to the bathroom, Sam swiveled Casey's chair around and placed both hands on her thighs. His palms were hot, sizzling through her leggings to her bare skin. Squinting woozily at his smiling face, she was desperate to keep her neck from bobbing. "Are you okay? Do you need some water?" Sam asked quietly. Focused on his chin, she realized she really liked his goatee and felt compelled to reach out and tug on the little brown hairs sprouting from his face. Was all she could mumble. Sam used his fingers like a comb and pushed her long hair back from her shoulder. When he unexpectedly leaned in to kiss her neck, she sighed happily and closed her eyes. The next thing she remembered was the alarm on her phone going off in her hotel room. Blinking against the muted light filtering in from the curtains, she determined she was in the bed, fully clothed, all alone. Chapter 2. Casey stared at her reflection in the hotel bathroom in disbelief. Her false eyelashes from the show the night before clung haphazardly to her eyelids, looking more like insects than lashes. She pulled them off quickly, shaking her head in disgust. Covering her face in makeup remover, she started to clean off the heavy show makeup just as her phone pinged with a text message. Sitting on the toilet lid, she woozily looked at the screen. "I won." It was a message from Sam that included a smiley face emoji. She immediately texted back, "How did I get to my room? OMG, I'm mortified." Her phone rang. She hesitated before answering, not sure if she was ready to hear about her after-hours escapades, disgusted with herself for letting her drinking get away from her. Again. Beer was usually her drink of choice, and she had no idea why she'd started drinking the hard stuff in front of her friends. Perhaps she was trying to feel relaxed around Sam, whom she was genuinely attracted to. And then, of course, he started egging her on in their little impromptu drinking contest. Why did she play along? What had gotten into her? And why was he so freaking cute? "Hello?" Her voice was raspy, and she realized she was dying of thirst, the very thought of gin making her gag. "Hey you, how you feeling, darling?" She could tell that Sam was smiling on the other end. How do you think I'm feeling?" He laughed. "Was I a complete idiot? Did I embarrass you in any way?" The thought of a variety of drunken scenarios in her vulnerable state crossed her mind, and she suddenly felt nauseous. If her overprotective sister knew what she had done, she'd be livid. "No, you were a very good girl. A little drunk and quiet, but very good. Rocky and I helped you back to your room. I hope you don't mind that I had to look through your little purse to get out your room key." "Oh, yes, that's okay. That's fine." She fingered the soiled washcloth in her hand, not sure what to say. "I have your jacket. You left it in my room." "I was in your room?" A bolt of panic shot through her system. "Yes, you and Rocky came to my place for a few minutes before we took you back to your room. You were adamant that the night was young and you weren't ready for bed." He chuckled. "That didn't last long. We got you back, safe and sound." "Oh, I'm so sorry, Sam. I don't usually drink like that. I don't know what got into me." "No worries. I'm headed down to grab breakfast in the hotel restaurant. Just meet me there when you're ready and I'll give you your jacket." "All right." She ended the call and turned on the shower, ready to cleanse her body and her mind of the drunken ordeal. A faint flashback of Sam's face extremely close to hers crossed her mind, and she absent-mindedly touched her lips. Looking in the mirror, she vaguely remembered him kissing her lightly before saying goodnight to her. Or was that a dream? The steam from the shower fogged up the mirror in the bathroom, and her mind clouded in its own haze of fuzzy memories from the previous night. The only clear things she could distinctly remember were the awesome band and Sam's crystal blue eyes. His gaze transfixed her and drew her to him like no other. Shaking off her daydreams, she climbed into the shower, anxious to get cleaned up and downstairs where she could talk to him one-on-one and find out what exactly happened. The hotel restaurant wasn't particularly busy. A few lone patrons sat at tables covered in white cloths, sipping coffee and eating remnants of what looked like breakfast. Casey spotted Sam by himself at a table against the wall, his large roller luggage and drum cymbal case parked nearby. Eyeing her jacket draped over the chair across from him, a wave of nerves suddenly rolled through her, and she had no idea what to say. After donning large black sunglasses, she sheepishly parked her rolling suitcase next to his and started to put on her jacket. Sam looked up at her with lively eyes and grinned. "Good morning, sunshine. Would you like some coffee?" Acting like everything was normal, he flipped over the beige mug at the empty place setting in front of him. "No, thank you. I'm good." She shrugged on the jacket and turned to leave. "Whoa, sit down for a minute and keep me company while I finish up here." Hesitating for a beat, she decided to sit, popping the collar up on her jacket and folding her arms across her chest. She felt absolutely terrible and had to avert her eyes from the nauseating food on the table. Her hair was still damp, pulled into a messing bun, and she was too hungover to bother with any makeup, hence the dark sunglasses. Sam ate slowly, adding a dollop of ketchup to his fried potatoes. Casey watched him chew and offer her small smiles in between bites with a mischievous twinkle in his eye. Did he know something she didn't? She abruptly got up and started to pull her luggage behind her. "Okay, enjoy your breakfast." "Wait, Casey, just wait a minute." He stood quickly, threw his napkin on the table, and grabbed her by the shoulders. She turned around to face him, thankful the dark shades hid her expression. With his large hand, he tucked a tendril of loose hair behind her ear, sending a shiver down her spine. "I want to apologize for egging you on last night. I don't know what got into me either. You were a great sport playing along. I think we both got a little out of hand." His eyes turned a deeper shade of blue, the heat between them palpable. She shyly looked down at the floor. "It's okay. As long as I didn't force myself on you or anything, I'm really embarrassed." Sam shook his head and smiled his killer smile as he lifted her chin with his fingers. "You have nothing to be embarrassed about," he said softly. "I had a blast. I'm just really sorry I'm the one who caused you the massive hangover you must have right now. Am I right?" Being this close to him made it hard to breathe. She nodded, not sure if she was bold enough to kiss his tempting lips mere inches from hers, the intimate bubble bursting with a familiar voice. "Yo! Good morning, my drunkard friends!" It was Rocky. His dark hair was slicked back, still damp from an obvious shower. He looked the part of a rock band musician with ripped blue jeans and black Converse tennis shoes. Sam pulled his wallet out of his jeans pocket and threw some money on the table. "What's up, man? You sleep well?" "Oh, yeah, I slept like a baby. That third beer really knocked me out. Casey, girl, how are you doing?" His tone had turned sarcastic. Casey offered him a fake smile and started to walk past him. "I'm good. I'm so sorry about last night." "Nah, nothing to worry about." "That was a blast, man." He picked up a piece of potato from Sam's plate. "You gonna finish that, dude?" "It's all yours, Rocky." Sam grabbed his luggage and followed Casey. "I'll catch up with you guys in a few. Thanks for the grub." He sat down to eat the remnants of Sam's breakfast. Casey walked quickly to the lobby, aware of Sam following her. Hey, Casey, please, wait up," he called. Slowing her pace, she allowed him to catch up to her, and they continued to walk side by side in silence. The rest of their bandmates, minus Dora, who had left on an earlier flight, were milling around the lobby, waiting for their transportation to take them to the airport. Sam immediately got caught up in a conversation with the other musicians, who he greeted with high fives and laughter. Casey's head was throbbing, and she was thankful to see the familiar van pull up on the cobblestone drive in front of the hotel. The sooner she could sit down and close her eyes, the better. Before she knew it, they'd made it to the airport through security and settled in the area outside the gate, waiting for the plane to arrive to take them back to Atlanta. Slumping in the uncomfortable furniture, she kept her eyes hidden from behind her dark sunglasses. When she felt her phone buzz in the pocket of her jacket, her arm ached as she pulled it out. "Are you okay? I'm worried about you." She looked directly across the aisle and met Sam's gaze. His phone was in his hand, and his head tilted with concern as he stared right at her. Sighing, she texted him back, thankful that they were using technology and not their voices to communicate in front of everyone. "I felt better." Nodding sadly, Sam stood and walked away from the group. She assumed he was headed to the restroom. Shoving her phone back in her pocket, she closed her eyes and made a promise to herself that she would never drink gin again. "Here, darling." His voice startled her. He was sitting right next to her and held a bottle of water and a travel-sized packet of Tylenol. "You need to drink all of this and take these. Once you're hydrated, you'll start to feel better." He gripped the top of the water bottle and twisted off the cap for her. Taking the bottle from his hands, she sipped gratefully and watched him rip open the medicine. Holding her hand out, he dumped the 2 white pills into her palm. She threw them back and sipped some more as he casually draped his arm around her and started to knead the tense muscles in her neck. It felt so good, and she couldn't help but surrender to his kindness and lay her head on his broad shoulder. "Go ahead and close your eyes, sweetie. I'll wake you up when it's time to board," he whispered. She nodded and drifted off almost instantly.